This is Aner Dyfan Explains From the Depths Explosion Clipping. A limitation with From the Depths engine at the moment is the way explosions can clip through surfaces, and in particular between the sub-objects, that is to say turrets such as these two. In the way the game handles sub-objects is that they are considered completely separate entities, connected to a single point at the actual spin block or turret turner here, turret block there. This means that the turret itself can interact with the hull, or either turret can interact with the hull, but also they can interact directly to each other should there an explosion occur. So no matter what I do here, so if I actually built like a wall in between the two, like so, this wall would offer absolutely zero protection of any explosions from this turret occurring over to here. So I can actually show that if I detonate the gun, well, it destroys the block, but then this one is also damaged directly. That is not a very good example. Over here I have two more examples of how this occurs. So here I have two guns actually within a turret cap, and if I just shrink the blocks down you can see the turrets are within a normal turret well, and there are a considerable number of heavy armor beams in between them. The other ones, these themselves, are actually got the heavy armor on them on the outside. You may be thinking, well, you'd think naturally these won't explode because they have these extra additional beams in between them, compared to these which actually just have an air gap and they're the same distance apart. However, that is not the case because they're considered separate entities. So, however, because they're considered separate entities, when this turret explodes, it ignores the fact that the hull is here and affects this turret directly. So, if I break the blocks and detonate the turret, the explosion chains directly over to the other gun, causing a chain reaction and causing both guns to explode. This is not what you want. So it's always better and more beneficial to armor up the turret itself where possible, because this will prevent chain exploding. It won't stop it, but it will drastically reduce how often it will occur. If I detonate this one, you see a little bit is caused damage, you see a few darkening of the blocks, but the gun has not chained. And this does have explosive materials in. Just to prove that, I will actually detonate it. This isn't the only way explosions can chain is between objects. You do also have odd clipping issues with the way explosions work. The explosion debug tool shows a slight indication of this. Unfortunately, the explode debug tool doesn't work exactly the same way as normal explosions work in From the Depths. So it's a little bit outdated, but it shows you how it functions. So if I just fire an explosion on the hull, see, there is no actual damage done to the turret itself, and there is not an explosion. However, if I just hit this block, the gun explodes instantaneously because the explosion has clipped around the outside and just gone straight through into here. And that can happen on a normal ship. So again, it is always better to armor up the turret where possible. Unfortunately, by armoring up the turret, you are considerably increasing the mass, and so it will turn vastly slower. And so sometimes you'll want to limit the amount of armoring to ensure a fast turn rate to allow you to track targets more easily. Alternatively, by setting up guns with ejectors, that will decrease their volatility again, and so will also help prevent chaining between guns. APS weapons aren't the only things to chain in this manner, however they are by far the most common thing to chain explode on ships. So hopefully this has been beneficial to the design of your ships in the future. Until next time, goodbye!